Welcome everybody to another Voice of Nick show. We're doing more of our Posthomerica artwork, and we're very close to finishing this one for the time being. There's two elements that we want to add, and then there's one thing that I want to redo in this picture that kind of sticks out pretty conspicuously at the moment, so I want to kind of like integrate it more. So first, let me load up my reference here. We're gonna do these guys. Maybe we should have art guides a little bit on. Okay, so then it looks like what it's actually doing is this, not a triangular pattern. That's pretty cool looking. Okay. And then they have these kind of like somewhat defined leg muscles here, the same as the seated guys that we drew. Now, in order to get this spear to look correct, we're actually gonna let it go through the entire picture like this. And then we will erase the parts that intersect. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. Maybe like hanging down hair or something. Whatever it is, we're putting it in there. So now, the last thing they have is some kind of, we'll put it on our spear layer. It's some kind of like arrow thing. I'm not really sure what it is. It could be anything, you know, like some kind of sword that's attached to the inside of the shield or something. And it looks like it actually goes through the shield. But let's let it be a little bit more, yeah, kind of like spidery like that. So let's look at this without the guides. Great. Yep, that's what we're going for. So now we'll just do this X amount of times. And as opposed to the underdrawing where we just duplicated two of these guys all the way to the end, I guess we'll custom do each of these this time so that it's a little more authentic. We're going to have their patterns going in two different directions here. Actually, you know what? I like this pattern going this way better because let's make our own part of this too. It kind of creates a line of action or like a sight line. Yeah, that, I think with that little square, triangle in the middle works pretty well, because this sort of works against the composition. So let's, we're gonna alter this so that all of their arrows are pointing forwards. And then maybe the spear will not exist here. Let's turn off the guides for a second, see how that looks. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. What would it look like if we destroyed the inside completely? You know, yeah, I like this better. Because it's weird that the spear would go through the shield, but this arrow would go through the shield, but the spears don't. So we're gonna make it so that the shield is totally opaque. Good. So that's our design, and we're just gonna, it's a recurring pattern until the end, essentially. So let's do it. Whatever this is, we want it to go further on the left than on the right. Good. Now, I guess we'll just keep doing that. We have 4 more guys ahead of there. The design altered in such a way, very slightly, but that their heads are hitting the roof because we drew the roof a little bit lower in our version. So we're sort of making a couple of changes on the fly here. Okay. Maybe give this one extra little thing. No, I like the bigger arrow. This guy's gonna be standing more straight up than the other guys. All right. As you're saying, how are you enjoying the JFF movies? 今週は元気ですか？そう、その映画さ、とっても楽しい。僕は、今まで一つだけ映画を見ました。そのラーメンの映画。そして好きだった。けどもっと映画が、見たい。I saw one so far, and I'm really excited to keep going with it. Yeah, it's a cool festival. A couple of them are not available in the US, but it's interesting the way that they do it, where they're trying to make the movies. I was reading the description on the website for the Japanese Film Festival, where they're trying to make the movies available to countries that don't have access to Japanese cinema. So some of those movies aren't really meant for us, where it's like they have like Rashomon, which is very, very much available for us, you know, Criterion Collection and all those means of watching it, you know, a super classic Japanese movie. But a lot of countries don't have access to things like Rashomon, so they, you know, they're putting that out there. That one you can't even watch in the US, as far as I know. But, you know, it's not meant for us really, because we already have access to it. It's a cool film festival. Sometimes it looks like these are like this, where that's like, it's like a weird animal face. As they're saying, I've seen Happy Flight, Ito, and Masked Ward. Each was great, especially Ito. Nice, I haven't seen any of those ones yet, but I will add them to my priority list. It's nice that it's free, too. I haven't really been to any free film festivals before, you'd expect that they wouldn't really, that there'd be a lot of limitations on it, but this seems pretty, like, everything's pretty available, and, you know, they're just really excited about sharing their cinema with everyone. It's really cool. It's put on by the Japan Foundation, which is the same organization that creates like the standardized testing for Japanese learning, like the whatever it's called, the JLPT test. When you get like certified in Japanese as like a JLPT 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or whatever, that's the same foundation. So they put on a lot of events, I guess, because they did this festival and they also did that food festival that I wanted to do a little while ago, but didn't get around to. Give him his little hair thing. As they're saying, it's really cool. It's great that it's free, but sad that it's not available in all countries. Yeah, but I mean, what they're doing is pretty cool, because like the U.S. doesn't really have that. I guess because United States' movies are so wide-reaching. But I've never heard of any country that does that. If I had, I would be going to those festivals. But like, I've never heard of like France saying like, hey, other countries don't have enough access to our movies. We're going to do a free film festival for the rest of the world to partake in. Because I noticed that you can't even watch those movies with Japanese subtitles. Like it's not, and the movies aren't even available in Japan. So it's like, it's a festival for everyone in the world except Japan. It's really cool what they're doing, where they're like trying to share their culture with everybody, and it's totally free. I think more nations should do that. Great. I'm going to take this one guy here. Well, first of all, now that we have all the shields, and we're just going to better space him between his friends here. Good. Love it. Okay, so that definitely gives them a priority visual. Now we want to remove some of the more distracting elements to emphasize what we want the viewer to be looking at. That's sort of one of the more important parts of getting our composition right, is to ensure that the viewer is looking where we want them to look. I think I'm making these too big. I'm gonna make them smaller. We'll put our little dots. Okay, let's just turn off our guides for a sec. Yep, good. Let me check the reference examples where these dots appear. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. We want to, yeah. So now we want to put some dots in all the places where he didn't put them before. The horse has the ladder, so we'll put the dots on this layer. Okay. Then we have the dots there. We didn't put dots there. We have dots everywhere we want them though, except for that one spot. So now let's take a look at this without the guide, the red layer. And the one thing that sticks out that I'd like to change is these. So let's do something about that. What I'm gonna do is, let's turn this layer down. We'll use it as a guide to trace. Let's see what we can get. That's working. As you're saying, it's interesting. I was looking at the Jisho website online. Oh, the online dictionary. And it lists JLPT and Wanikani level. Oh wow, Wanikani level is like a thing? That's interesting. Yeah, JLPT is like the one that, if you want to, it's like the official national resource, like taking the, the SAT test or something in the USA, where the JLPT when you want to get a job like teaching English in Japan or something, you're literally just saying like, I'm JLPT certified to this level or whatever. It's the standardized national test of language. And it's cool that that foundation would be the one doing, you know, a film festival. It seems like they have a lot of different arms of the organization. You know, I should have saved a layer where I don't know why I didn't do this. Yeah, I only saved the layers after I had already die cut them. But I should have done it when it was just a bunch of lines, because then I could use that for anything. Oh well. So basically what we're going to try and do is, instead of having these checkerboards filled with black, which causes them to be very bold in the scene, we're just going to fill them with the same striped pattern that everything else has, which will make it so that it just feels more like a part of the background with everything else. Because it's not like these checkerboards are meant to draw the eye, but they do draw the eye because they're too bold. And we don't want that. We want the viewer to look at the people going into the Trojan horse, and obviously we want them to look at the Trojan horse, not at this random insignificant background element. So we're going to take this, duplicate it, and move it up. Oops. Good. Merge that. Then we'll do this again. This time I guess we can just do this. So now we can just cut this out. Square by square. What's the best way to do this? First of all, we'd get rid of everything around the picture. Good, so this is gonna be better, I think. As they're saying, oh, it looks so amazing, thank you. You're saying it reminded me of the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding, which you've seen dozens of times. The dad would say, you should be proud to be Greek. This, we'll have to put some Windex into this picture somewhere, I guess. I have never seen that movie all the way through, but I probably should watch it. All right, yeah, this is better. We'll be able to see what we're doing more easily. Oh, before we do this, though. Well, let's just take it as it is. Duplicate these two, and we'll put them in our bag of tricks. Just in case we need them later. Okay. Just piece by piece. Slow and steady, as they say. Good. As you're saying, my daughter spent a year in China teaching English. Cool. It's a good way to get, like, like ingrained into a new culture or whatever, because you're able to teach the language that you're proficient in, as long as you know some degree of speaking their language. There's a lot of people when they move to Japan, at least, that they would get a job teaching how to speak English as well. It seems like a cool way to do it. What was her experience with that? What did she think of doing that? Okay. Oops. So now that we have this checkerboard, we can duplicate it for the other part of the picture. But first, let's just see if we can integrate it into our existing thing. So we can merge these layers. Right, now we'll delete everything that goes outside the zone. And it still looks kind of overly bold now because you can still see the black partially underneath the not the checkerboard, well, under the checkerboard, but under the diagonal lines. So once we get rid of that, it should be better. Okay, so now let's turn this back on 100%. We're just gonna get rid of this. Yeah, that's gonna be better. And we'll probably have to redraw this outline here, so we don't need to worry too much about making this pretty on the left and around these corners. Actually, it kind of looks fine, so. Yeah, that's way better. Okay, so you can see here that this feels like a part of this background element now, and it doesn't take your attention from these guys. But this, as you can see, is like much bolder, and it sort of like weirdly takes your attention, even though it shouldn't. So let's grab this. I guess we can, well, no, we don't want to merge it yet. That would screw us. So we're gonna take this and put it over here. I guess we'll twist it. This, where do we, what's going on here? That's this, this is what we want, yeah. So we want to get rid of this section in here. So we'll just kind of start marking that out for there. As they're saying, she had a really great experience and learned so much more about the culture, language, and especially the food. Oh, a hot pot dinner, cool. There's a hot pot place right near me that I really want to go to, and I've still, in all these years, never gone. Maybe I will have to use that as a sign, a reason to go. Oh, you sent her a takoyaki maker. Nice. Made them for a Japanese dinner party with her friends. Nice. Takoyaki is definitely a classic for like getting, you're on the street, they got those takoyaki stands. That's cool. I didn't know there was like a takoyaki maker. So it's like you can put it in a little, like a ball-shaped pan, I guess, that kind of like forms it. That would make sense because I don't know how else they would get it to be shaped like that. But that's going to do it, ladies and gents, for this one. So we are very close to the end. We took a little detour by redesigning an element, but I think that it gets us a stronger overall composition, so that's good. After we finish this side, little piece that we're adding, then we just put in the border and we'll be done. So thanks for joining, guys. The channel is called The Voice of Nick. If you want to see more, don't forget to hit the follow button. And if you want to find this project when it comes out, these illustrations will be for a book that I'm publishing it'll be on Amazon. The audiobook will be on Audible, Apple Books, and Amazon as well. You could just search for The Voice of Nick on Audible to find the 3 books that I've already published as a narrator. This will be the first that I'm publishing both as a editor / introductory author and a narrator. So keep an eye out for that.